Okay. 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 What I'm going to do is we are going to be going through the heart, and we're going to be coloring, first of all the arrows, but also all of the uh, parts of the heart as well, a certain color, as you can see on the sheet that I have posted for you. So first, what you're going to do is you're a piece of paper, and you can see what I want you to do is trace this heart on your computer screen. So what you would do is, I'm going to turn the camera to where you can see my screen. Okay, so you see my screen, you see the heart on it, right? So you're going to take your piece of paper and you're going to put it up next to your screen, and you're going to trace the heart onto your piece of paper. Okay, and then you're going to have what I have here, okay, for you to do. Okay, and we're gonna label the color and label this together. Okay, I'm gonna get it back to the way it was. So give me just a second. Okay, now that you're fully and completely confused, so what you're gonna need are some colors. Okay, now if you don't have colors, that is okay. What you can do as we go is you can label. And you may have like a blue pen or a red pen, and you could do that part of the colored arrows. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is the deoxygenated blood arrows. So I'm going to get my blue. I've got my blue pencil. And we're going to start at the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, because this is blood that's coming back from the body and it doesn't have oxygen in it. Now remember, this is not necessarily blue blood, but it is deoxygenated, and that's how we make that connection in our heads. Okay, so we've got our deoxygenated blood from our superior and inferior vena cava. Then it comes together here and it dumps into the left atrium. So we're going to keep coloring here. Then the left atrium, we're going to go through the tricuspid valve, because anytime you leave a room, you got to go through a door. Okay, so our doorway is our tricuspid valve. And we've entered into the right ventricle. The right ventricle contracts, and we're going to leave through a doorway, because every time we leave a room, we've got to go through a doorway and go through the pulmonary valve. Because we're going to end up going to the lungs because we need oxygen. Okay? And we've entered into the pulmonary trunk and then the pulmonary arteries. Now remember that this is the only time that our blood is in an artery where it is not oxygenated. We've got two sides to our pulmonary artery because one's going to one lung and one's going to the other lung. Okay? So now we're going to go to the lungs, and it's going to become oxygenated. So now we need our red, because we're going to know that it is oxygenated, and it's going to enter back through the pulmonary vein. Now this is the only time that oxygenated blood comes back from the veins. Now here's the deal. I gotta draw in our arrows here because for some reason they did not get drawn in. So we are going to come back from the lungs with our oxygen. Okay? And we are going to enter into the left atrium. Okay? And then we're going to continue through our journey. Anytime we leave a room, we got to go through a doorway. We're going to go through the bicuspid or mitral valve. Okay? Into the left ventricle. Left ventricle contracts. We're going to exit through a doorway and go through the aortic valve. Because we're going to the aorta. So we've got to go through the whole body. Okay, and this will push us up and go backward. It's back behind the heart. And this is the aorta here. You know it from the three things that are coming up. And so that will push us out to the whole body. Okay, so this is going to the upper body, these three. One's going to the brain, one's going to the upper body, and then one's going to the thorax, or going to the heart itself. It kind of bends and it goes back behind the heart, and it's going to go down here. This is the descending aorta. This is going to go to the lower body. Okay, so that's our blood flow. It goes to the body, and it's going to come back through the superior and inferior vena cava and start all over again. So now what we're going to do is go through and label our structures. Now I'm not going to go necessarily in order here because I want to go through it as we would walk our way through it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to color the superior and inferior vena cavas. So for the vena cavas, those are going to be green. So I'm going to get my green color. And again, I'm not going to be perfect about this. I am going to do this kind of quickly so it won't look perfect. But I want to color my superior vena cava here. Again, not perfect. Okay, got that there. And my inferior vena cava here. Okay, so now I've colored that structure green. Not perfect, but it'll do. The next place where it goes, it dumps into the right atrium, correct? So our right atrium is going to be brown. I'm going to get my brown and color the right atrium. Again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of one of those people that really likes to have nice, neat pictures of coloring. And so this is a stretch for me. I have kind of what I think is as messy because I like to color and I like to make pretty pictures. Okay, so that is our right atrium. Now, if we're leaving a room, we got to go through a doorway. And to get through that doorway, we have to go, that doorway is actually called, to get to our next thing, that doorway is a valve. So down here, we've got different valves we need to label. Okay, so the first valve we're going to go through is the tricuspid valve here. So you're going to actually label tricuspid valve. Okay, that's the one that's pointing right here. You can see it's pointing right there. I'll just hit my camera. Okay, now we're going to go into the lower chamber, which is a ventricle, and it's our right ventricle. It's going to be black. Okay, so we have to color our right ventricle black. Again, I wish it were pretty because that's me wanting to be pretty. Okay, now we're leaving a room. We got to go through a doorway. Okay, and here is the line that's pointing to this doorway. We're going through the pulmonary valve because we're going to the lungs. So we need to label this right here, pulmonary valve. Okay, now we're going to the lungs. So we have to by our pulmonary arteries. Okay, so the pulmonary arteries are supposed to be orange. So I'm going to get my orange. Now right here, what I'm coloring is actually the pulmonary trunk. Okay, but it's leading to the pulmonary arteries. So I want to go ahead and color it orange since we didn't have anything to designate that. And these, with the deoxygenated blood, are also pulmonary arteries. Again, not pretty at all. I hate this. They're really making me stretch. And then they're over here as well. Okay, so now we go into the lungs. And when the way we get back is our pulmonary veins. Veins bring blood back to the heart. Arteries take blood away. Our pulmonary veins are yellow. So we need to come over here and we're going to color our pulmonary veins. That's what these are, yellow. They come collectively back together and dump into the left atrium. Our left atrium is pink. Now, if you don't have a pink, you can use a highlighter or you can just leave it white. You may not have a pink in your colored pencil set, and that's okay. I used a colored pen because I don't have a pink as well. Okay, now we're leaving a room. We got to go through a doorway, a valve. Okay, so it's this valve that we're going out. It's the bicuspid or mitral valve. But the labeling thing's all the way over here. It goes all the way across. You can see this line. So over here is where bicuspid or mitral valve goes. Okay, that's your bicuspid or the mitral valve. Okay, now we've gone through the doorway into the next chamber, which is the left ventricle. We're going to color that light blue. If you don't have a light blue, just color a lot lighter than what you colored your arrows. I have like a seafoam, sea green color, so that's what we're going with here. Okay, now we're in a chamber, we're leaving a chamber, we got to go through a doorway. So we're going to go through where we're going to end up going. We're going to be trying to go to the aorta to get to the whole body, and so this would be the aortic valve. Okay, now we've labeled all of our valves, and we're going to leave through the aorta. And the aorta is purple. So we're going to be purple. And you can even do this part too if you want to. Just showing the purple. And it goes back behind the heart. And comes out the top. Okay, so this is part of the aorta as well. And I'm trying to do it very quickly, so it's kind of ugly. And it's really stretching me because I like to be pretty. Okay, and even right here, that's a little bit that's going back behind it. Okay, so it's going to go back behind it and go down. Okay, so this is the descending aorta down here, so you got to make sure you color that as well because that's part of the aorta. Okay, and now we have our colored heart. Okay, so that's what the different structures are. Make sure you know those structures. We're going to be using them to do some stuff on Friday. Okay, and it's just helpful for you to know the differences. Okay, so y'all have a great one. Make sure you upload this to Schoology. You upload the picture of it, the thing that you traced and colored and or labeled. If you don't have colors, then just label it. You can write what it is inside the chamber or however, just make it very plain and easy to read so that I can see that you know which structure is which. Okay? Y'all have a great day, and we will check you later.